Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the first installment of Steel Slam, your weekly television show right here on SteelDomainWrestling.com, and of course, many of you seeing us on Facebook. Along with Mick Karch, I'm Pete Waggoner, and we have plenty to talk about as we look forward, Mick, to what is going to be an incredible card. And I've never thought of them. The Hopkins ones have maybe had some hype and some really good feel to them. But this one, not only in what's signed and what's happening, has an incredible energy behind it.
Very much so. You know, there's a lot riding on this. First of all, I want to say it's great to be back at the Crystal Community Center. Ran some shows there years ago. Used to be my old neck of the woods. Used to be
it is.
2 blocks away from the building. Great facility for wrestling.
Well, John Fromm's going to walk to the place.
He
there.
is. The Fromster.
Yes, the Frommer's going to be there. Will they have the gloves on?
Of course he will.
Okay.
But again, I mean, there is hype for this, Pete, with good reason. This is a huge card. A lot riding on this. Not only are we commencing the Steel Domain Wrestling Tag Team Championship Tournament, we're going to talk about that in a minute, but also that big singles match for the vacated Steel Domain Wrestling Championship. You know, the last time you and I did television together, Mitch Paradise was the SDW heavyweight champion. He never lost it in the ring. We're going to talk about that a little bit too. But between those 2 matches and the fact that one of the founding fathers of Steel Domain Wrestling, Sexy Ace Steel, returning to the Twin Cities, the state of Minnesota, he's on a mission. He's on the payroll of the Golden Idol. So, you know, that can never be a good thing. All in all, top to bottom, this is just a great event. The buzz for this card has been like no other in months, I gotta say that.
Excuse me, I'm fighting back a cough like Hillary Clinton there, sorry. Had to go there. But it is, and we're going to get into the championship match, but in this first segment, I think we're really going to focus on the tag team tournament. And I think that's something you and I have I would say, spoken of, wished for, wondered why aren't there tag belts? Why haven't they been dusted off? Have there ever been tag belts in Steel Domain Wrestling? And now I think we have the ability with some great teams here to put together an incredible tournament with some incredible talent. So we know that the architect, Ed Hellier, is thrilled about the new belts. And are we going to unveil them on this show?
That's what he says.
We're going to see him right here but are we going to see him on this show?
I don't know.
Or are we going to pull them in the dark?
You know something, it's up to the tech. You know, we never want to second guess him. We never want to actually even get into the head of the tech to find out what he's
going to do. Well, I know you don't want to.
Been there many times, don't want to go there again.
So let's look at the tag teams that are involved. Obviously, we have Happy Hour with Ryan Slade and Ricky Love, and you know they're kind of the fun guy connection. You know, they come in and they horse around a little bit, and you know I felt like that cost them a match at Doherty's.
I would agree with you. But this time it's a little bit different. You've got
That's where I'm going with this. Is this a little serious?
Oh, serious business. You know, you're going to have some real focus here. Ryan Slade and Ricky Love, we both know, in singles competition, they've been mainstays in Steel Domain Wrestling. And of course, Ryan Slade, the former SDW heavyweight champion. Together, they have had such an impact on the tag team scene in SDW. And you're right, they're fun-loving guys. Young guys, they like to go out and have a good time. Certainly a hit with the ladies, you know, in Steel Domain country. But now it's all business. And if it's not all business and you get into the ring with the opposition of 3 under par, Chadwick Wentworth III and Brick McCarthy, if you don't take that seriously, you're going to get your ass handed to you.
I know personally.
Oh, I know you.
I mean,
they were horrible to you.
Well, I'm thinking about getting a restraining order or harassment. I mean, Brick McCarthy, Chadwick Wentworth III have been all over me, and we'll get into that when we talk about them a little bit further. But I wanted to complete the thought on Happy Hour. I think what you're going to have with them is a guy that's been champion for a long time when Ryan Slade was the champion. They've held regional belts in other parts of the country, especially in the Iowa area. So this is nothing new to them. But I think of all of the teams that we have in this tournament, they by far are the longest running team.
No question about that. But again, in this type of a tournament where one night is going to determine who goes on to the finals in October, this is not a protracted tournament we got going on. You're going to have 2 tag team matches this coming Saturday evening in Crystal. The winners of those 2 matches face off for the Steel Domain Tag Team Championships back at the American Legion in October. And I gotta say, it has been 12 years since the Steel Domain Wrestling promotion had tag team champions.
12.
12 years, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, so you got new belts, you got renewed interest in the tag team tournament, you've got some tremendous competition. Guys that are really hungry, you know, to attain top status in Steel Domain Wrestling. Let's take a Ricky Love, for example. You know, Ricky was on a roll, and all of a sudden, the bottom kind of fell out, and he left Steel Domain Wrestling for about 6 months, almost a year actually.
Yeah.
Came back loaded for bear, on fire, forms this tag team with Ryan Slade. You gotta know that Ricky figures that this is his time right now. And again, you better stay focused because you talked about Wentworth III and Brick McCarthy. Very, very tough combination. We can continue on, you know, to another team in this tag team tournament. They're in the other match, and I'm talking about the Temple of Terror, the Golden Idols combination of Aaron Corbin, who calls himself the peak of the Temple of Terror.
Well, we all know that Corbin and the Golden Idol are having a relationship. It's very obvious.
Well, I wouldn't necessarily go there, but yeah, I mean...
Well, I just did.
I know you did, but I'll stay away from that. I don't know what kind of a relationship.
It's a love affair.
I'm sorry to hear that.
We're breaking it right here on Steel Slam.
At any rate, Aaron Corbin, who is tremendously talented.
Very good.
I gotta say, this kid is absolutely fearless. He's been in the independent scene in the state of Minnesota and around the upper Midwest for many, many years now. He's a ring general. He's teaming up with perhaps the most angry individual in SDW, a guy who, and I'm not talking about Ed Hellier, I'm talking about the guy who goes around
Or me setting up the video here.
with a perpetual chip on his shoulder in AJ Smooth.
Oh, you run the other way when he comes in the room. It's just, there's some people you gravitate toward, and there's others that you gravitate away from. But that chip on his shoulder, they're a very nasty tag team. Would be very curious to see what it would look like if they connected with a very nasty tag team in 3 under par.
Can you imagine the implications if Aaron Corbin and AJ Smooth happen to advance to the Tag Team Championship Tournament, and the same night for the vacant championship, Ace Steel comes in as a part of the Temple of Terror. Idol is bringing him in. Imagine if he crashes the Nugget. Can you just imagine the absolute... He'll be orgasmic, the Golden Idol will. He'll own everything. He'll own all the gold in Steel Domain.
He is really... We're going to take a look at some video from him with the Ace Steel. He was talking about that when our cameras caught up with him about a month and a half ago. It was very cryptic. He said something about having Ace Steel. We'll get into that a little bit later. But very interesting thing from his perspective there. But I do like that team. And then our fourth team.
The fourth team, and this is the dark horse. And I got to say, you know, when you have a combination that hasn't worked together a lot, that's either going to be a detriment to them because they don't know the ins and outs of their own combination. By the same token, the opposition, in this case, the Temple of
There's
Terror.
no book.
You're absolutely right. We're talking about the team of our good friend, our good buddy, Travis Cole, who gets no respect whatsoever from the Temple of Terror. He's going to be teaming up with Logan Legend. They are the dark horse to say the least, but I tell you what, again, it's that single elimination. You know, all of a sudden, you know, you can either advance to the finals in the tag team tournament or you're done. Anything can happen. We've said so many times in pro wrestling, 3 seconds. That's all it takes.
Never know.
And your world can change.
Well, I like the fact that there isn't a book. I like the fact that Travis Cole has seen everybody that's in this tournament, whether it's in singles or tag, mostly singles. But we did get a look at Logan Legend and Travis Cole in Prior Lake.
Yes.
In that event, and Logan Legend was very impressive. He's got a very solid frame, and you know, when you look at the handicap of this, you could have gone with 8 teams and made it a longer, drawn-out process. But I think what the championship committee really wanted to do was just kind of cut through the blowouts and get it down to the 4 best teams. But what's really interesting to me is how these teams have formed and have kind of worked. You've seen 3 under par. They have definitely had their eyes set on that title from the very beginning. Then you also have the Temple of Terror. I know full well the Idol, as you said, would be orgasmic.
Oh.
Has absolutely, he wants all the gold. And so there's another opportunity for him there too. And then you have the unknowns, obviously, in the team we were just speaking of in Cole and Legend, and then of course Happy Hour, which I think I have to figure they're going to be in the finals. Now I have to say this about 3 Under Par. I have been harassed nonstop since I had. Did you see that bit?
I did.
Okay. Well, I'm talking to a very attractive bartender, minding my own business.
Gorgeous, by the way.
Absolutely. By the way, did you see the blonde right down the way?
How did I see the blonde?
Who was she looking at?
Don't worry about
Okay.
it.
Anyway, so we were talking about who the biggest a-holes in Steel Domain Wrestling was, and that was easy. And little did I know it was a trap. Maybe they were right over my shoulder, and they invaded my privacy, and they basically intimidated me. And you know what? I'm a little nervous because did you see the driver right in the grill there?
If I were you, I would really be. I would take out a life insurance. If you've got anybody, maybe a beneficiary.
That's been checked off the list.
It has.
Yes.
Am I in there?
No,
Am I?
sorry.
Am I?
Sorry, there's not a lot to go around. So we work in professional wrestling here.
Let's be serious for a second, because I'm going to go out on a limb, and I know you and I were going to make our predictions for this tag team tournament. The team that you just talked about, with all due respect to Happy Hour and the Golden Idols Temple of Terror and the unknown factor again of Legend and Cole, I think Chadwick Wentworth III, personally, just one guy, I'm not talking about the team, is so hell-bent on finally gaining the status that he feels he has been richly deserving for so many years in Steel Domain Wrestling. This guy is angry, he's focused, he is mean, he is on a mission. You put him together with Rick McCarthy, who gets better every time out. I think this guy, far and away, is the most improved wrestler in Steel Domain Wrestling. I'm going to go out on a limb. That's my pick. I'm going to say 3 under.
I don't know if this is good television, but I agree with you. I would say, I want to say heavier prohibitive favorites, but I've had them as the favorites for a long time. And I've been very clear about them, in my opinion, being a perfect team. They've got power, they've got anger, they've got ring savvy, they've got leadership. We see Rick McCarthy getting better and better every night. Don't have to agree with their tactics and how they do things. But they, to me, are going to be very difficult. Maybe I'm wrong, but anything can happen. The other thing that is, I think that our new team is going to be a problem for the very fact that you said they've got issues. People don't know who they are.
Exactly.
And they're very skilled professional wrestlers.
They are. Individually, they're very skilled. Now, in the past, in professional wrestling, it's well known. Either that, as I said, is going to play into their favor or it's not. They are either going to gel, like all of a sudden and just, come at the opposition from all sides, or the fact that they have limited tag team experience together is going to be a detriment. Either way, this is huge. We're going to talk about the other match in just a couple of minutes, but I want to stress the importance of the Steel Domain Wrestling Tag Team Championships. People have said, why hasn't there been a Steel Domain Tag Team Champion all these years? And what's really interesting about it, Pete, had a lot of tag team matches over the years at SDW, but no tag team champions for 12 years, as I said, and here's why. There have been no long-running, cohesive tag teams in Steel Domain Wrestling. A lot of them have hooked up to settle the score, maybe with an opposition. They don't like this guy or that guy. Maybe they don't like each other. They put their differences aside for the night. This time, this era in Steel Domain Wrestling, we have the most sustained, cohesive, ongoing tag teams that we've ever had before. And that's why the architect says, you know what, now's the time.
Well, and you bring the gold in, and now it'll be more than just doing those kinds of things. So we're running out of time on this first segment. And one thing that I do want to mention too as well, or ask a question since you're on the championship committee, is there a time limit? What happens
In the
tournament?
In the tournament?
Because you have to have a winner. Are you going to go to the ballots?
No, there will be a winner. You're talking about the championship match itself when it gets to that point?
The semifinals.
There will be a winner. I have talked to the architect. He's still kind of in the planning stages, but we're going to guarantee this isn't going to be in limbo. This isn't going to be up in the air like our...
So if they wrestle to a 40-minute time limit draw, what happens?
I would guess.
Overtime?
It would have to be. It would probably have to be, you know, add another 10 minutes. If you got to go, you add another 10 minutes.
So we're not going to do the college football, start them on the 35 and let them score. In this case, we put them in their submission holes and see how long they can last.
Pete, somebody's going to win.
That was a pretty good idea.
That was very good. Somebody is going to win Saturday night. 2 teams will win, and they will advance to the tournament. Somebody is going to win the Steel Domain Wrestling Tag Team Championship at the October show at the American Legion. It's that simple. It's not going to be hanging there. There's no hanging chads like in Florida. This is going to be a done deal.
Another political reference in a political season. We're going to take a timeout. Steel Slam continues. We're going to talk championship match right after this.
We will never fully understand what we've asked of you or your families, asking you to put yourself in harm's way to endure it all. But we do understand that it's our turn, our duty, to keep you secure for the rest of your life. Wounded Warrior Project long-term support programs help our most severely ill or injured veterans live independently, at no cost, for life, so that they might stand at ease. Join us at findwwp.org.
And we welcome you back to Steel Slam. This is our first show. And we do podcasts, we do all kinds of stuff, but we'll see where this show goes, Mick Karch. I think, you know, it's a very casual approach, kind of a chat. You know, hopefully the idea of us talking about this is to get all of our viewers, fans, and listeners, viewers, whatever you want to say, to, you know, start talking amongst themselves.
Well, no question about that, Pete. And we're trying to give you a different perspective too. We're being very analytical about what's coming up. You know, we're not, you know, overhyping. We're not doing a hard sell. We're examining these matches, you know, for what they are, and kind of giving you our own opinion, our own thoughts, maybe giving you a little bit of insight into how things develop in Steel Domain Wrestling. I think it's going to be fun, and hopefully, well, you know, if nothing else, it gives us something to do.
Well, why do you think we're doing it? Because we have nothing to do. Exactly. It was perfectly stated.
Yeah.
Ryan Cruz back in Steel Domain Wrestling. He had his first match back at Doherty's, I believe. He was not in Lonsdale, correct?
Correct.
Okay. It was great to see him, and he's going to be facing...
You know, it's kind of up in the air right now. We've got a couple of
We're days before the event.
Well, you know, card's subject to change. You know, we've got Tommy Lee Curtis is on the show. We got Cooter is on the show. We have Doug Wrestler, the masked Doug Wrestler is going to be on the show. So it's kind of
They're not going to make him go intergender again. That poor Doug.
Oh, poor sap. Are you kidding me? You and I are the only ones that are allowed to have intergender wrestling matches.
Well,
and we paid big money to do that.
Absolutely. Well, people pay money to not see it. So James Jeffries is on the card.
What a talent this kid is. And not only is he a great wrestler, and of course the champion down at Impact in Iowa, James Jeffries, but he's a great guy. He's got a great attitude. He loves working for Steel Domain Wrestling.
Very respectful person.
Very respectful. He's
legit,
the kind of,
good person.
You know, I've said it a million times. If we could have 100 guys like James Jeffries in the locker room, there wouldn't be any headaches.
We got another one like Downtown Petey Brown.
Oh, Downtown.
A little flaky, but...
A little. Downtown.
I sort of connect with that guy.
Well, you're both Pete's. For starters.
Well, there's a start.
And he's pointed that out several times to
you. He has.
Yeah, and
the eraser head hair, the man bun. You know,
I could see it. I could see a little. Well, you're uptown.
Well, I could do
uptown
a man bun here. Well, I could have.
I don't go that far, but at any rate, it's a great lineup beyond the 2 matches that we were talking about. And I know you've got some footage right now that really gets you a little bit sick to your stomach.
Well, there really is, and I think the first thing that we want to do is let's first take a look back. Hopkins, Minnesota. 2014. I know 2013. Jeez, I mean 2013. It was in July, and it was Sexy Ace Steel back in Steel Domain Wrestling to clean things up. We want to show a couple of moments of that match where he and Scrap Iron Adam Pierce had a Pierce Sixer.
One of the most violent matches I have ever seen. Part of that 7 Levels of Hate series, Pierce and Colt Cabana. That match, historic in nature, went all over the country. Now Pierce returns to the Hopkins Pavilion and wants to put his mentor, his teacher, Sexy Ace Steel, on the shelf once and for all.
That's a pretty tough job to do. It's a little hard to put the teacher on the shelf.
Well, I was a little worried about ring rust on Sexy Ace, but he told me he does wrestle periodically. He bases most of his in-ring activity in the Missouri area, and he walked into the building tonight, and I did a double take. He looks to be in the best condition I have seen him in years.
Again, I'm going to agree with you on that. The guy looks great. His in-ring ability is unbelievable. I mean, these guys are really going at it. Oh,
Spine
my
buster.
God.
Double A spine buster, rattling the vertebrae of Sexy Ace Steel.
That's more than a spine buster. Oh.
Adam Pearce is not flashy. He's not flamboyant. He's methodical. He sets his sight on you. His eyes focus like laser beams, and he gets the job done. Once again, they're to the outside, and we remind you, ladies and gentlemen, that's fine. Referee, you're not going to count anybody out on the outside of the ring. There's no 10 counts. You can go out there and you can count a pinfall, because pinfalls count anywhere, and I mean anywhere. They might wind up in Milwaukee. They might wind up in the South Bronx by the time the night is over here.
The way these guys are going, it's very possible. I mean, they're outside the ring, and they're not going to stop. This is one match that these two guys, I'll tell you,
man,
there's got to be a lot of hatred here.
Well, each man with something to prove. There's no question. Ace Steel is a very prideful man. And when he heard Adam Pearce making the derogatory comments that Ace was all done, he wanted to get back in the ring in the worst way. And now, again, ladies and gentlemen, the playground is expanded, and here they go.
The crowd is on their feet. I mean, this is unbelievable. These two guys are going at it.
They've taken it to the outside. They're moving back towards the concession area here. Our monitor, sadly, has gone out here at the Hopkins Pavilion, so I can only tell you what I can see with the naked eye, and that's not very much.
I can hear it. They're going up against that bear truck.
Oh. They are all over. They're by the beer truck. We've got the, as we call them, the gimmick tables over there. They better stay away from my memorabilia. I don't care. Get out of here.
John!
Get out of here.
Are you okay?
Johnny Stewart is complaining that he was hit in the head by a rubber. This guy, get out of here. Go sit down. Go check into the emergency room. Do something. Here they're coming back. They're in the chairs. A sea of chairs here at ringside. Oh, man. Wow.
These guys are all over the place.
Look at now. Look at Johnny Stewart.
Johnny Stewart's doing the right thing. He's protecting his man.
He's choking Ace Steel. That's what he's doing.
No, he was putting the thing around Ace Steel so he wouldn't get hurt anymore, for God's sake. Somebody's got to protect this guy. Johnny does an unbelievable job.
This could wind up at Shillard Plaza. It could wind up at the Gagne Training Facility, that barn out at Excelsior, Minnesota, although I'm not sure there's anybody there anymore.
I'll tell you what. This is, I mean, look what we're bringing in the ring now, for God's sake.
Oh! You know, the same thing happened last year with Pearce and Cabana. We got speakers ready to fall over. We got, oh, they better not bring any babies in there, for heaven's sakes. There's a guy, a spectator, putting his kid on his shoulders.
He's just trying to help out.
Oh, man. Our line of sight is gone. I hope our cameramen are right in on top of the action. Ace Steel and Adam Pearce, we knew it. We knew it was going to deliver. And it certainly has. Again, imagine Adam Pearce, a 5-time NWA champion, the lineage of that title, the Ric Flairs, the Jack Briscoes, the Funks of the world, Harley Race. The list is endless of the tremendous talent that preceded Adam Pearce, and he kept that legacy going. And can you imagine the feather in the cap of his former teacher, Ace Steel, if he could take the measure of the younger, the more accomplished, I guess at this point, Adam Pearce?
Well, I'll tell you what. He can try, but again, I'm a firm believer that the teacher comes out victorious. The teacher has a few more moves that this guy might not have.
Adam Pearce, again, look, I told you about those eyeballs, the trajectory. Oh, man. Oh, can Sexy Ace put it together here? He got out of the way of that elbow. And now Ace is going to the top here. I don't know. I don't understand the logic here sometimes. You waste an awful lot of time climbing to the top rope. Look at Stewart. Johnny Stewart.
Oh, boy. See?
Johnny Stewart, that bastard.
Johnny Stewart is always thinking on his feet. That's what makes him a great manager. That's what made him a great wrestler.
He's waving at you, and I don't like that collusion at all.
Hey, Johnny Stewart, me and
There's
him.
a tire. The man has a tire. Are you serious?
Oh, yeah, look.
The man. Did he blow himself up there? Oh, look at Pearce. They've got a full-size tire in the ring right now.
He's been out of the ring for a while.
I think so. Oh, God.
Oh, my goodness.
Man's got a steel-belted head right now.
What size tire do you think that is?
Don't worry about it. What size tire is it? Oh, man. Back and forth. Ace Steel, Adam Pearce. This is a war, and how? Oh, no. Pearce is hung up in the ropes. And that would-be athlete, Johnny Stewart, is trying to get him out of there.
This could be bad news.
Oh, my.
This could be bad news. Oh, my goodness.
Oh, Pearce. What is he? Sit out. Get out of there.
Come on, Johnny. Come on.
Don't do anything. Sit out.
See, Johnny's just trying to do his job. Get him tagged in. Let him get in the ring.
When you guys are in the same building, it is stereo idiots. I'm telling you. I don't know who torments me more, you or him.
I'm not. Yeah, I'm not at liberty to comment on that. Again, he's just trying to do his job. That's what his man has him in the ring for. That's what he's there for. He's there to help.
Adam Pearce. Oh no. Oh, I've seen people get crotched on that top rope, and I'm telling you, the jewels went straight down on that one.
That had to hurt. It's hurting all the way over here at the announce table.
Look at Sexy Ace now. Oh, what a match. What a matchup. And I tell you what, it's got to be 130 in this building.
It's a little warm.
Sexy Ace is all the way to the top. Are you serious?
Oh
no!
God.
Oh! That superplex from the top rope.
See, here we go again. Here we go again. John's trying to get in there. He's trying to help his man.
Oh! Well, Steele delivered the superplex, but I'm not sure who got the worst of that deal.
I'm not sure either.
Oh, finally! That's what I'm talking about.
Oh, John.
Oh, Sexy Ace.
Oh, boy.
Here he goes. Climbing to the top. Once again, Ace Steel. Elbow. Does he have him? He got him. He got him.
A complete injustice.
Sexy Ace Steel.
Once again.
Well, that was. Well, how about Mr. Manager Man with what?
Too bad they didn't.
Did you see that tire overpower him?
Oh, Pete's sakes, Johnny Stewart. I mean, this guy, if he lifts weights, I don't know if he's lifting marshmallows or what, but he tried lifting up that Goodyear and he about had a stroke.
He did. He did have a stroke.
It was terrible.
Thank God the ropes were there to keep him off the floor. But that was a time when Ace Steel was very serious about enough's enough. This I started this. I don't like where it's going. Adam Pearce was running wild in Steel the Main Wrestling for some time, and at that point he said enough's enough. But now something's happened in between here and then. I want to take a video I don't know how many of you have really seen this, but it was really weird when the Golden Idol was talking about, I got ace steal, man. I've got ace steal. And I think we're going to learn more of what that means. Let's just take a quick look at that piece of video right now.
I already got ace steal, man. I don't need nothing else. I got ace steal. Ace steal is signed and done. He is now a part of the Temple of Terror. We are secure. Steel Domain Wrestling will go to the rightful owner. Trust me. It will be back where it belongs. Away from Ed Hellier, the archithief. Not an architect, he's a thief. That's what we're going to do. Our day shall come. Mick Karch and Ed Hellier will be at the bottom of Lake Minnetonka where they belong, sucking up the guppy. We got this. We got this. It's all good. Temple of Terror.
So, Mick, the Golden Idol is beyond obsessed with hotshot Danny Duggan. And getting Sexy Ace Steel as part of the Temple of Terror, obviously priority number one.
No doubt about it. And Pete, you said beyond obsessed. You know, I've known the Golden Idol for going on 30 years now, and this is the way he operates. All of a sudden, somebody irritates him, somebody pisses him off, somebody, sticks in his craw, and he will do anything and everything to eliminate that. He did that years ago. There was a kid around town by the name of Tommy Ferrara. A thorn in the Golden Idol.
Still talks about it, right?
Still talks about it. He can't get over it. So what does the Golden Idol do? He went out and he got a guy by the name of Larry the Butcher Cameron, one of the toughest guys you would ever see in professional wrestling. Puts him in the ring with Tommy Ferrara at the American Indian Center back in 1993, I believe, maybe 92. And Tommy Ferrara is a tough kid. Larry Cameron was a paid assassin, and he did a number on Tommy Ferrara. That's what's going on right now with the Golden Idol once again. Not only is he obsessed with hotshot Danny Duggan, he's obsessed with Ed Hellier. He's obsessed with the architect, the man who signs the paychecks. He's got a personal vendetta. So what does he do? He goes, he expands the playground a little bit. He goes outside the box, and he gets the man that arguably is the single most influential, or one of the two single most influential men in Steel Domain history.
If not the.
Absolutely, absolutely. Because Danny Dominion and Ace Steel, it's no secret, started Steel Domain Wrestling in Chicago, Illinois with the Steel Domain training camp. Danny Dominion has since left the wrestling business. Ace Steel, on the other hand, is more than active in wrestling. He is a tremendous attraction wherever he appears. I don't care if he's wrestling a 300-pounder, a 210-pounder, if he's wrestling in Missouri for Harley Race, if he's wrestling in Illinois, doesn't matter. Not only does the Golden Idol get out and get Ace Steel, but he puts that all too familiar bug in the ear of Ace Steel. I'm going to do this for you, I'm going to do that for you, I'm going to take you to the top. And he gets these guys so revved up, Pete, and so it's like holding a piece of bologna in front of a dog that hasn't eaten for a week.
You make it sound like it's a James Jones Kool-Aid.
It really is. It really is.
We're going to roll some video here too. Let's go back to Lonsdale, Minnesota, where you were part of that on the infield. Because boy, nice crowd there, by the way.
Very nice.
They're all in the stands. It was pretty wild. I mean, it was almost
got
like,
rained on, Pete.
Did you get?
Electric.
Well, by the way, thanks to Todd Grover for getting our cameras taken care of.
He did.
About 3 hours too late. But anyway, with the rain. But it was almost like, did you feel like caged lions out there with the fans behind, like a zoo animal?
Very much so.
It was almost like every match could have been a cage match.
No doubt about it.
It was quite interesting. But obviously he had some issues with the architect. Let's roll that tape. And he has some more messages. It's just incredible. It doesn't end.
Gentlemen, what a night in Lonsdale, Minnesota tonight at the ballpark. Ed Hellier along with Mick Karch to wrap things up. Ed, chaos from start to finish. One thing that we got to talk about, the Golden Idol in the ring a little bit earlier on. Hotshot Danny Duggan, a measure of revenge. Not only does he beat Aaron Corbin, but he shoves a hot dog down the Golden Idol.
Wait a minute. Hey, hang on a second. Let me tell you something. You know something, Karch? You guys have me so upset. This is unbelievable. You let Danny Duggan get inside that ring, and he don't tell me I'm spitting on you, because I'm telling you, this is the last time. I've had enough of you, Ed Hellier. You let Danny Duggan shove a wiener in my mouth. What kind of person do you think you are?
Don't touch me.
No, you don't even do that.
Don't push
you
me.
don't even. I'm sick and tired of this. Every time Aaron Corbin, every time the Golden Idol, wherever we are, I'll do whatever I want to do.
Hellier, what's the matter
What are
with
you talking about? Did you see what happened in there tonight?
I saw what happened.
You know what?
Oh, wait a second. What the hell are you doing? What in the hell are you doing, Idol?
Let me tell you
Wait
something
till the
about Hellier. Ever again, you mess with me.
Jesus.
You mess with me, you old man. I will
get out
knock
of
your
here.
ass down.
Aaron,
I
come
will
on.
tear you up. I am the
Idol,
Golden
get
Idol.
out. Get
This
out
is
of here.
Aaron Corbin. You do what I say.
Get out
You
of
do
here.
what I say. I own you.
Can we get some, Ed, are you all right? Can we get some help out here? Damn him.
Gross. There he is. Golden Idol. How's your weekend?
Can I get a little peace and quiet around here?
So, come on now, Golden. Something happened. You snapped. You hit your boss, the architect. We need answers.
You know, let me tell you something, Pistol Pete. I don't know what you're doing out here following me. I'm getting ready to go over here to the nail spa, get a little pedicure, manicure, get all cleaned up, and you're following me around town here? What kind of nonsense is this?
Well, we just want answers because obviously we've got a big event coming up on the 17th of September, Steel Domain Wrestling, the Richfield Auditorium, and at some point you're going to have to run into the architect, including this upcoming Saturday. You're going to have to run into the architect too. What can we expect? What's going to happen?
Let me tell you something, Pete. What happened to Ed Hellier, your so-called architect, has been long overdue. His continued battle with the Temple of Terror, with Aaron Corbin, with AJ Smooth, with Tommy Lee Curtis, and myself, the Golden Idol, has finally blown up. You see, on September the 17th, Richfield, Minnesota, you wanted it, you got it. Ace Steel coming into the ring against that miserable Canadian, Danny Duggan, shoving a hot dog in my mouth. Everything that Ed Hellier got, a wiener, whatever you want to call it, everything that happened, everything that Ed Hellier got, it was the greatest day that I ever had, popping him right in the jaw. I'm tired of him. You see Ed Hellier on September 17th, Richfield, Minnesota, at the American Legion Auditorium, when Ace Steel steps inside that ring, all battles will be over. All scores will be settled because on September 17th, Richfield, Minnesota, Danny Duggan, you will leave that building that night a broken man, a broken Canadian. And Ed Hellier, I don't care if you're in his corner. I don't care what you do. That night will go down in the history books of the greatest night in professional wrestling action in Steel Domain, with Ace Steel stepping in the ring. Just leave me alone.
Golden. Are you serious? Oh my gosh, look at him go.
By the way, have you seen Golden run that fast in your life?
Only when he heard it was closing time at the Old Country Buffet. You know, then he really, I think he set a land speed record. You know, when
It was a very close second.
You know, you can hear and you can see in this guy's tone of voice and in his eyes, Pete, he's gone. He is absolutely hell-bent. Now, first of all, to slap the architect, Ed Hellier. Disrespectful, insubordinate, whatever you want to call it. And Hellier had every right in the world at that point to say, you know what, get your ass out of Steel Domain Wrestling. You're done. But instead, Ed has opted to be in the corner of hotshot Danny Duggan this coming Saturday night in Crystal. Imagine that. The owner of the company, the owner of Steel Domain Wrestling, is going to be very up close and personal to the Golden Idol to keep him out of the action, keep him from sticking his nose in. I want to talk one more thing about Ace Steel. It's such a matter of pride with him, too, because Ace Steel, again, he was the man, one of two men that started Steel Domain Wrestling. You got a generational thing going on right now. You got Ace Steel from 17, 18 years ago. What he calls the glory days of Steel Domain Wrestling. He says that once he exited stage left with Danny Dominion and Colt Cabana and Adam Pearce and all of a sudden he says, well, that was the end of Steel Domain Wrestling. On the contrary, those of us who are still involved in it right now don't feel that way, and certainly Hotshot Danny Duggan, who has been Steel Domain Wrestling champion before, doesn't feel that way. So you got these two button heads, you know, the veteran, and I don't want to call Danny Duggan an upstart by any means, but it's the old school versus the new school. Plus the fact that we haven't talked about this at great length. Mitch Paradise was the Steel Domain Wrestling champion. When this match, Ace Steel and Hotshot Danny Duggan, was first signed, there was no caveat of a Steel Domain Wrestling championship at stake. It was hot enough on its own. Now all of a sudden, Mitch Paradise, who's been doing some wrestling, but he's really struggling. He's got a bad leg injury. Doctors have advised him to get surgery. Ed Hellier's right on top of it. And he said, Mitch, we can't have a champion in this kind of shape going in and defending the title. Ed had no choice with the championship committee. You took the phone call from Morris Merrill. The decision was made. Hotshot Danny Duggan and Ace Steel now vying for the vacant Steel Domain Wrestling Heavyweight Championship, as if the match wasn't sizzling enough.
So, think about what just occurred here, folks. You had a champion in Mitch Paradise who does have a bad knee, struggling up and down stairs, worked in Prior Lake, and he did the best he could with what he had. We're going into the fall season, into the winter season, which is like our regular season, where we knuckle down and we have events every month, and you know we've been very busy. But you know, I mean, this is our season. You can't not have your heavyweight champion, the Steel Domain champion, which is known to be a wrestling champion, not defend it. So that makes sense. Okay, then you have the Golden Idol, who doesn't seem to want to just settle the score here. He seems to want to more take control of the company, almost NWO style in a weird way. I mean, that's definitely something he's saying it cryptically and not so cryptically in his messages. And then you do have the coming together of the old and the new. The new face being Danny Duggan, and it's been a very good face for Steel Domain Wrestling, and there's no doubt about it. By the way, he's held the belt longer than anybody, including Ace Steel. And then the other aspect of that is you have Ace Steel, and for those of you viewing, I don't know if you've never seen Ace Steel. I don't know if you know how big of a deal it is. It's that big of a deal that he's back. This is a big deal.
Longtime fans of Steel Domain Wrestling are very familiar with Sexy Ace Steel. They know who he is, they know the resume, they know what he's accomplished in professional wrestling, but you hit the nail right on the head. If you don't know who Ace Steel is, I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, like Pete said, this is a huge deal. Not only is it a coup to get Ace to come to Steel Domain Wrestling, you know, because he's very busy all over the country. But this guy has wrestled for WWE. He has wrestled for Harley Race's World League Wrestling down in the Missouri area. He's wrestled for TNA. He's wrestled for Ring of Honor. He's been successful everywhere he's gone. So not only is it a coup for the Golden Idol to bring him in, it's a coup for Steel Domain Wrestling. I can't emphasize enough how important this match is, and again, bottom line, now all of a sudden, you got the gold on the line. Now all of a sudden, the prestigious...
He could win it again.
Of course he could, and Steel Domain Wrestling, you know, we're the real deal. I mean, I want to make this real clear, too. There's an awful lot of promotions, not only in the state of Minnesota, but around the country, that are what they call independent. They're not affiliated with WWE or, you know, Ring of Honor, what have you. Steel Domain Wrestling has as good or better a reputation than any of them. This is big, and it's going to take place at the Crystal Community Center. If you're not familiar with it, it's at 4800 Douglas Drive in Crystal, Minnesota. A great facility for wrestling. Come on out. This is the one to see as we kick off the fall season.
Cannot wait to get started with this one. It's going to be a heck of a night, and having Ace Steel come back to Steel Domain Wrestling.
He's doing a meet and greet too, by the way.
Correct, that's right. So get your tickets for that. Information is online, steeldomainwrestling.com, or on the Facebook page. But having Ace Steel come back into Steel Domain Wrestling is equivalent to having Vern Gagne be gone for a long time and then come back into the AWA. To me, it's that big of a deal, and if you're a wrestling purist, this guy's a veteran, he's in shape, he knows the ring, he knows what he's doing. We've got matches jam-packed. This will by far, I think, go down as the best night that I've been a part of in Steel the Main Wrestling since 2012, and to be on your side, I can't wait to do it.
You know something, every time you and I get together to call the action, it's a real kick, and you know, we have some fun with it. We got our work cut out for us this
No
coming
question.
Saturday evening. You know, we better be very mobile too, because I think there's going to be action in the ring, out of the ring. You know, we got a lot. Stan Crusher Kowalski told me he's going to be coming.
He's going to be there.
He wants to see this.
Bernie
one.
told me Patrick Royce might be there.
What?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me, Pat Royce? And here's another one. You probably didn't know this. Dawn Lemke, who wrestled for Vern Gagne in the 1970s. Dawn, who actually is one of the last of that era of professional wrestlers, is actually coming in. She wrestled the likes of Vivian Vachon, Kay Noble back in the day. She's coming in from Milwaukee, especially and expressly to watch this card. So, you know, they're coming in.
Former gopher Paul Ospey, the former goaltender, will be there.
No kidding.
Benilde St. Margaret's Red Knights coach Ken Pauley will be in the house.
Wow.
Yeah, we're bringing them all in.
Kind of reminds you of when Vern used to talk about all the people who were going to show.
The dignitaries.
You know, all the dignitaries. You know, Mancini was going to be there.
Yeah,
you
they're
know?
all. Well,
They were.
you didn't need to blow our cover. That's what we were doing here.
Wow, sorry.
Thanks a lot.
Sorry.
All right,
Kill
well,
another territory.
Show number 1 is in the books. Mick, thanks for joining us today. And,
Pete, as
always
usual,
a
buddy.
pleasure. We'll
That's
see you
great.
Saturday. Don't forget, Saturday night, 7 o'clock, Crystal Community Center. Meet and greet is at what time?
5 o'clock.
5 o'clock. Get there early. Get your tickets. Come on out. We're going to have a blast. It's going to be a wonderful night. For Mick Karch, I'm Pete Waggoner. Have a good night, everybody.